You know, there's a hidden crisis unfolding right now that connects the food on our plates directly to the medicine in our cabinets. It's the story of antibiotics on the farm, and it's a silent threat that honestly involves all of us.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get a handle on just how big this crisis is. Then we'll trace the path of these superbugs from the farm right to the patient. We'll dig into why farms are so hooked on these drugs, look at the two big solutions on the table, and wrap up by asking a really tough question about the food labels you see every day.
All right, first things first, let's talk about the stakes. The United Nations has a pretty chilling name for this. They call it a pandemic hiding in plain sight. So what does that actually look like in real life?
Well, it looks like this: 1.27 million deaths every single year, directly because our antibiotics have stopped working. And get this, if you count the deaths just associated with antibiotic resistance, that number skyrockets to almost 5 million. This isn't some far-off problem. It's happening right now.
And it's no surprise that the world's top health experts are sounding the alarm. The World Health Organization ranks this threat right up there with things like global pandemics and climate change. It's a huge deal because it threatens to unravel modern medicine as we know it. Everything from C-sections to chemotherapy relies on working antibiotics.
So you might be wondering, where is all this resistance coming from? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle isn't in our hospitals. It starts on our farms. There's a direct pipeline from our food system to human infections.
And this breaks it down perfectly. It's like a four-step chain reaction. It all starts when antibiotics are given to animals, often just mixed right into their food and water. This creates the perfect breeding ground for resistant bacteria to take over. Then, these superbugs spread everywhere, through the meat we buy, through contact, even into our soil and water. And the final step? People get infected, and suddenly we have these nightmare illnesses that are incredibly hard to treat.
Now here's where it gets really wild. It's not just about animal bacteria infecting us. Bacteria can actually trade their survival secrets with each other. It's a process called horizontal gene transfer. Seriously, think of it like they're passing around cheat codes to beat the antibiotics. So a totally harmless bacteria from a farm can teach a dangerous bacteria inside your body how to become a superbug.
And this has led to some really nasty superbugs you might have heard of. We're talking about resistant strains of Salmonella and E. coli, yeah, but also livestock-linked versions of MRSA. And there's this really tough strain of C. difficile, ribotype 078, which has become a major headache in hospitals, with clear links back to farms.
So, the big question is, why on earth are farms using so many antibiotics to begin with? Well, the answer is, it's complicated. It's often less about treating a single sick cow and more about propping up an entire system of farming.
We really need to split this into two different categories. On one side, you have giving medicine to one animal that's actually sick. Totally makes sense. But on the other side, you have routine group treatments. This is where an entire herd or flock gets dosed with antibiotics, usually to prevent disease. And in places like the UK, that routine use accounts for a whopping 75% of all antibiotics used on farms.
And why are these group treatments so widespread? Because, frankly, they're often a crutch. They're used to make up for the stressful, crowded, and sometimes unhygienic conditions in intensive farming. We're talking about chickens with less space than a sheet of paper, or piglets weaned so early their immune systems are a mess. It's all part of a system that's prioritized extreme productivity over the animal's natural health.
And this picture says it all. Modern chickens are bred to grow unbelievably fast, but that rapid growth often leads to a whole host of health issues. And the data shows these fast-growing breeds get 6 to 9 times more antibiotics than slower-growing, healthier birds. Why? Simply because their bodies can't keep up.
It's the same story with pigs. A huge study out of Denmark found that piglets raised in intensive indoor farms got about 72 doses of antibiotics. Now compare that to organic piglets, they got less than 5. That is 15 times more antibiotic use, and it's driven almost entirely by the farming system itself.
Okay, so this is a massive systemic problem. The good news is, the solutions are systemic too. Experts basically point to two main ways we can get off this antibiotic treadmill.
It really boils down to a two-pronged attack. First, we need governments to step up with stronger rules that just flat-out ban routine preventative dosing of entire groups of healthy animals. And second, we need to shift to better farming practices. Give animals more space, less stress, and use breeds that are naturally hardier. You improve welfare, you reduce disease, and you cut the need for drugs. Simple as that.
But, and this is a big but, there's a major roadblock. The European Union actually brought in a ban on all preventative group treatments back in 2022. It was a huge step forward. The UK's proposed rules, though, they are way weaker. They still allow preventative group treatments and don't plan to stop imports from places that use antibiotics to fatten up their animals. We're talking massive loopholes that could completely undermine any real progress.
So this gap between what's needed and what's happening leads us to a final, really crucial question. If the rules have loopholes, what can we, as consumers, actually rely on? I mean, what about those labels we see in the grocery store?
I want you to just look at this number for a second. 20%. In the context of the meat we buy, what do you think 20% could possibly mean?
Well, here it is. A recent government study found that 20% of meat labeled raised without antibiotics actually had antibiotic residue in it. 1 out of every 5 products making that promise was apparently mislabeled. That's just a colossal breakdown in the system we're supposed to trust.
And findings like that just shatter the trust between us and the people who produce our food. We depend on those labels to make good choices for our families, but evidence like this suggests maybe we can't.
So that leaves us with this massive, looming question that's way bigger than just our grocery list. If the labels can't always be trusted, and the regulations have giant holes in them, how are we supposed to protect the future of modern medicine? How do we make sure these life-saving drugs still work for us and for the next generation?